Hello, and welcome to GBA Time, a chronological series for the Game Boy Advance. Our game up today, game number 108, is E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial. This was released in December of 2001. This is based on the iconic 1982 film. There was an infamous Atari 2600 game. It is credited with the video game Crash. And there were 3 Game Boy Color games, but this is the only one on the Game Boy Advance. $27 complete in-box value. Remember that you can play Game Boy Color games on your GBA. Alright, let's get into the gameplay here. Nice title screen here. And this is basically a movie tie-in. 20 years later, but it's a movie tie-in for the film. Almost like a 20th anniversary type deal. And you're going to play as E.T. This is kind of an adventure game, as you'll see here. Collecting things, running around the map. So you got to collect these flowers in your first level. You got to avoid these frogs, even though I ran into them 100 times and it didn't kill me, so I'm not sure. Just made me bounce back. Running into these frogs, running into the beetles. So you got to collect these 15 flowers in the first level. Kind of a basic level here. And then I kind of jump ahead. So there's nothing too memorable in this first level, but it kind of builds the story, so that's not bad. For those unfamiliar with the story of E.T. Alright, there's our first level completed. I did some cut aheads, obviously. And then we're going to jump into the second level. So the story is that E.T. was abandoned by his crew. Alright, so you gotta run around this same level, basically. Avoid the agents and pick up all the Reese's Pieces. Because Reese's Pieces was a popular thing in E.T. the film. And here is where the game shines. If I can do this with a straight face, I have been laughing the entire time when this animation comes up. Actually, 2 animations. So we're going to try to avoid the agents here. We got to explore the map, pick up our Reese's Pieces. There's our first Reese's piece, and we saw the agent down here in the corner of our screen. So that's an interesting animation there. And here we're going to see in a moment, we're going to see E.T.'s attack. And if you can hear it along with the audio, you will find yourself laughing.
Stop.
And then we end on that.
Come here.
So if you're not laughing, I don't know, you don't have a sense of humor. Because this stuff is funny. Alright, we'll get into our pros and cons list here. Alright, pros, running around with E.T. was fun and hilarious. And this is strangely addictive. I don't know what it was, but I kept wanting to go back to it. Alright, the cons, it was a lack of direction. It was very basic graphics and gameplay. And then these attacks were poor, as hilarious as they were. Alright, we'll get into our ranking here in a moment. Alright, I did give this a C-, and I ranked this 83 out of 108. I was going to rank this somewhere in the low 90s. And then I got to level 2 and I had so much fun running around attacking these agents that I got moved up a number of spots. Alright, our next game is Phalanx. This is a port of a Super Nintendo shooter. So we'll see how that carries over to the Game Boy Advance and compares to our other shooters that we've done so far. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Please like and subscribe.